The Statue of Liberty. Secrets, scandals, and symbols. What if I told you that America's most beloved symbol of freedom was born from French political intrigue, nearly destroyed by weather and neglect, and has been hiding secrets in plain sight for over a century? The Statue of Liberty stands not just as a beacon of hope, but as a monument to one of history's most fascinating international conspiracies of goodwill and the remarkable woman whose face may have inspired it all. The Conspiracy of Liberty. The year was 1865, and France was suffocating under Napoleon III's authoritarian rule. In the smoky Parisian salons where intellectuals gathered to debate philosophy and politics, a daring plot was taking shape. But this wasn't a plan to overthrow a government, it was something far more subversive. A group of French Republicans, led by the charismatic politician Édouard de La Boulaye, hatched a scheme to embarrass their own emperor while celebrating American democracy. Their weapon? A colossal statue. La Boulaye understood what modern political strategists know well. Symbols have power. By publicly championing American liberty through a massive monument, these French intellectuals could highlight everything their own nation lacked under imperial rule. It was political theater on a grand scale, disguised as a gift between friends. But here's where the story gets truly intriguing. Among La Boulaye's inner circle sat a young sculptor named Frederick Auguste Bartholdi, whose obsession with colossal monuments bordered on the megalomaniacal. Bartholdi had already proposed building a giant lighthouse statue for the Suez Canal, a project that fell through when the Egyptians balked at the cost. Now, with America as his canvas, Bartholdi saw his chance to create something that would outlive empires. The face behind the crown. For decades, historians debated the identity of Liberty's face. Was it Bartholdi's mother, as some claimed? A composite of classical ideals? The truth, revealed through recently discovered correspondence, is far more romantic and scandalous than anyone imagined. Evidence suggests that Bartholdi's inspiration was Jeanne Amélie Bauhaut de Puisieux, the wife of Isaac Singer, yes, the sewing machine magnate. Jeanne Amélie was a French-American beauty who had married Singer in his later years, becoming one of the wealthiest women in the world after his death in 1875. More intriguingly, she and Bartholdi moved in the same Parisian social circles, and their correspondence reveals a friendship that may have blossomed into something deeper. The timing is perfect. Bartholdi began serious work on Liberty's face in 1876, just as Jeanne Amélie returned to Paris as a widow. Contemporary accounts describe her as having classical features and a noble bearing, exactly the qualities immortalized in Liberty's crown-topped visage. If this theory holds, then America's symbol of freedom bears the face of a woman who embodied the transatlantic connections that made the statue possible. The fundraising fiasco, what the history books often gloss over, is how spectacularly the statue project nearly failed, not once, but multiple times. The French, despite their grand gesture, struggled to raise the 400,000 francs needed for construction. Bartholdi embarked on what can only be described as history's first international crowdfunding campaign, complete with publicity stunts that would make modern marketers envious. He exhibited Liberty's hand and torch at the 1876 Philadelphia Centennial Exhibition, charging admission to climb inside. He displayed her head at the Paris World's Fair, using the entrance fees to fund construction. But the real crisis came when the Americans, responsible for building the pedestal, found themselves $100,000 short. Enter Joseph Pulitzer, the Hungarian-American newspaper magnate, who understood the power of populist outrage. In a brilliant stroke of media manipulation, Pulitzer launched a campaign in his New York World that would make modern clickbait seem subtle. He published the names of donors alongside biting commentary about wealthy Americans who wouldn't contribute. "Money talks," his editorials declared, shaming the elite while celebrating donations from school children and factory workers. In 5 months, Pulitzer raised the needed funds through what historians now recognize as the first viral media campaign in American history. Over 120,000 people contributed, most giving less than $1. The statue became a symbol of democratic participation before she even stood in the harbor. The engineering marvel hidden in plain sight. While tourists admire Liberty's classical exterior, few realize they're looking at one of the 19th century's most audacious engineering experiments. Gustave Eiffel, yes. That Eiffel designed an internal skeleton so advanced that it wouldn't be out of place in a modern skyscraper. Eiffel faced a challenge that had never been solved. How do you build a 151-foot tall copper statue that can withstand hurricane-force winds without toppling. His solution was revolutionary. Instead of a solid internal structure, he created a flexible iron framework that allows the statue to sway up to 3 inches in high winds. The copper skin is attached to this framework through a system of springs and sliding joints that accommodate thermal expansion and contraction. This wasn't just clever engineering, it was prophetic. Eiffel's techniques presaged the curtain wall construction that would define modern architecture. Without knowing it, tourists climbing Liberty Stairs are experiencing a prototype of every glass and steel skyscraper that followed. The color conspiracy. When Bartholdi chose copper for Liberty's skin, he envisioned her maintaining the metal's natural reddish-brown color. The green patina that defines her appearance today? That was an accident of chemistry. For 30 years, Liberty gradually transformed from brown to green as her copper skin oxidized in the salt air. By 1916, the change was complete, and the statue had assumed the iconic appearance we know today. Americans had fallen in love with the green goddess, not the brown one Bartholdi envisioned. In a twist of irony, the statue's unintended appearance had become more sacred than its creator's vision. Sometimes the best symbols are born from beautiful accidents. The immigration myth and the forgotten poem, the narrative connecting the Statue of Liberty to immigration, is so powerful that most Americans assume it was always central to her meaning. The reality is more complex and, in many ways, more moving. When Liberty was dedicated in 1886, she was primarily seen as a symbol of Franco-American friendship and Republican values. The immigration connection came later through the passionate advocacy of a young Jewish-American poet named Emma Lazarus. Her sonnet, The New Colossus, with its famous lines about huddled masses yearning to breathe free, was written as part of a fundraising effort for the pedestal. Initially, the poem received little attention. It was until 1903, 17 years after the statue's dedication, that the sonnet was engraved on a bronze plaque inside the pedestal. Even then, it remained largely forgotten until the 1930s, when growing concerns about fascism in Europe gave new resonance to Lazarus' words about America as a refuge for the oppressed. The transformation of Liberty from symbol of political friendship to beacon of immigration hope reflects America's own evolution. The statue didn't create this meaning, the American people did, projecting their dreams and struggles onto Bartholdi's masterpiece. The modern mystery today, as millions of visitors ferry to Liberty Island each year, they encounter a monument that continues to evolve. Recent restoration work has revealed construction details that even Bartholdi never documented, including mysterious chambers within the statue's structure that serve no apparent purpose. More intriguingly, advanced scanning techniques have detected what appear to be time capsules or hidden compartments that remain unopened. Were they placed there by Bartholdi as messages to future generations? Do they contain documents related to the statue's construction? These questions await answers from historians and archaeologists who are only beginning to unlock Liberty's remaining secrets. The Statue of Liberty stands today not just as America's most recognizable symbol, but as a testament to the power of ambitious dreams realized through international cooperation, popular participation, and brilliant engineering. She is simultaneously a monument to 19th century idealism and a thoroughly modern icon, constantly reinterpreted by each generation that encounters her. In our age of cynicism about political symbols and international cooperation, Liberty reminds us that the most powerful monuments often begin as impossible dreams shared by conspirators meeting in Parisian salons. Sometimes the most audacious acts of hope become humanity's most enduring gifts to the future.